Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ruining Your Childhood.
Welcome back to another episode of Ruining Your Childhood, one sculpt at a time. Today, once again, we're going to be heading back into the beautifully cursed world of Courage the Cowardly Dog, and we're going to be making someone who actually might be the most unsettling character of them all. That's right, folks, so today we are going to be sculpting Muriel. And yes, I know what you're thinking.
Muriel? The sweet old lady? Get her name out your mouth.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't blame you, but I think that's exactly what she wants you to think. I mean, let's think about it. There's absolutely no way you live in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by demons, monsters, curses, and whatever the hell Cat says going on, and you're just out there baking pies like nothing's wrong? Like, I'm sorry, but if a floating nightmare showed up in my house and asked for my soul, I'm not gonna be offering it tea. And don't even get me started on Freaky Fred. I mean, come on, the guy came in, shaved her pooch, and her response was, "Oh, what a lovely visit. Thank you so much there, Freaky Fred, for coming in and shaving my pooch." Anyway, with all that to be said, I just think there's something a little bit off with her. But anyway, now that my rant is over and the head shape is mostly there, we could start adding some details, starting with some pre-baked eyes that I made off camera. After pushing those into position, we could go ahead and start on his nose. For this, I just started off with a nug of clay, slicing off the back portion. Once I had a rough nose shape, we could go ahead and apply that face, then using a silicone sculpting tool, I go ahead and blend that in. After poking in a couple of nostrils, we could go ahead and start giving her eyes some eyelids. In hindsight, I actually should have added these before I put on the nose, but you live, you learn. But to achieve thus eyelids, I went ahead and rolled out some thin strips of clay, laying those underneath the eyes and then blending those in. As for the upper eyelids, I went ahead and repeated the exact same process as I did for the lower. And then we could go ahead and start building up her jowls. I just felt like I needed to make her face a little bit more round, so I went ahead and took these nugs of clay, sticking them underneath the cheeks and next to the chin, and just blended those in. Now, despite the fact I do think she's cursed, we are going to be sticking to that soft, kind, sweet old lady that she's personified as. So for this, we are going to be giving her a sweet little smile. I started off by using a silicone sculpting tool to draw on some smile lines, and now I'm just penciling on how that smile is going to look. Took a real small thin piece of tapeworm, laying that underneath on the lower section of her mouth to make up her lower lip. After blending that in, we could go ahead and pause there and work on her glasses. For the glasses, I'm going to be using the exact same technique that I used for my Eustace sculpture. The little clear parts of the glasses are going to be made up of a hot glue stick that I sliced into these little chunks. I then took a very thin piece of garden wire that I shaped into a staple shape, and we got ourselves a nice little pair of glasses. After doing a little dry fit to make sure they fit on the face nice and tight, I was pretty happy with how those glasses were looking, so we could go ahead and pop those off and set them aside while I add some facial details. I went around the face with a silicone sculpting tool dipped in some isopropyl alcohol just to draw in some wrinkles. Once I was happy with how that was looking, I could take a natural sponge, just softly dabbing this across the surface. This helps to give the illusion of pores. With the face all textured up, we could start on the ears by taking a ball of clay, smashing it flat, slicing it in half. I then apply those pieces to the sides of the head, and then I could go on with a small ball stylus to draw in some inner ear detail. And with that completes the head, and we could go ahead and pop it in the oven. And now that we got Muriel's head back from the oven and cooled down, we could go ahead and drill a small hole in the bottom, inserting a piece of armature wire, then we could go ahead and start building up the body. For this, I take some Super Sculpey Ultralight. I'm just going to be breaking it up into two sections, starting with the upper section that's a little bit smaller. After doing a little bit of refining, I could take this big old wad and shove it on the bottom. Now, some of you guys might be wondering why I don't use tinfoil for this part, and the reason for that is that I always kind of struggled with getting the exact shape that I want when I use the tinfoil, so it's just a lot easier for me to use clay and just bite the bullet when it comes to cost. But now that we have a decent base of Muriel, I am going to be taking this piece of fabric, laying this over top and just rubbing it in. This is going to give the base a little bit of texture. Once I was happy with how texturified her body was looking, I then take a couple pieces of armature wire, shoving those into the bottom to make up her legs, and then we could go ahead and put it in the oven for a bake. And now that we got the body back and I know I'm not going to accidentally crush it, we could go ahead and start adding some details. I start off with a long strip of clay that I wrap around the lower section of the body, letting a little bit overhang. This is going to be making up the bottom portion of her dress. Once I was happy with the length and position of that, I then just go around with my thumb, blending this upper section into the rest of the body. And with that clay all smeared up, we could start on her apron. I went ahead and prefabricated this little trapezoid piece of clay that we stick on the bottom section. This is going to be making up the lower section of the apron. Once I was happy with how that was looking, I'm gonna go ahead and blend the top portion in. Before adding this little section to the top, I roughly draw how I want the curve to look on top with the back end of my X-Acto knife. Once I had that all cut out, we could lay that back on top and then begin to blend it in. And with everything all smoothed out, we could go ahead and set her aside and work on her arms. For the arms, I take this little cylinder of clay that I pinch off one end. Then after giving it somewhat of a mitten shape, we're gonna add this little chunk to be the thumb. Blending that in with the silicone sculpting tool, I can then flip it around and start adding some inner hand detail. Once I had the foundation of the hand done, we could go ahead and take these tiny little scissors, cut out some little fingies. I then use my fingies to shape his fingies to look more like fingies. And if you hate the word fingies, I'm sorry. I was pretty happy with how the first arm was looking, so I went ahead and made the second one off camera, hit it with a quick little dab up, then we could go ahead and start putting those arms onto the body. I first needed to bulk up her shoulders, so I took a wedge of clay, shoving it onto the side of her body. I could then take the arm, sticking onto the bottom of that. Once I had it all blended in, looking nice and tight, we could go ahead and do the exact same thing for the other side, and then we could start adding that upper strap that goes around for the top of the apron. For this, I just took a flattened out piece of clay, cutting out these little half circles, wrapping it around the back of the neck. I did the same thing for the other side, letting it meet in the middle, then blending it in. Finish everything off by using that piece of fabric to add some texture, then it's off to the oven. And with Muriel Bagge, you can see we burnt her blouse a little bit, but that's okay. We'll just be a little bit careful next time. But for now, we could go ahead and start on her legs. We're gonna go with my tried and true sleeving up limbs method here with just coating it with some liquid Sculpey, wrapping a flattened out thin piece of clay around that piece of armature wire, slicing off the excess, then blending it in. I was pretty happy with the thickness, so we went ahead and did the exact same thing for the other side. And now that we got her skinny little legs all sleeved up, we could go ahead and start adding her giant boots. For this, I rolled out a nice log of clay, kind of tapering it down toward the ankle. Once I was happy with the size, length, and shape of that first boot, we could go ahead and make the second one off camera. And once we had those lined up, we could start adding the actual toe section. For this, I just took a ball of clay that I roll out into this long kind of oval shape. Kind of reminds me of silly putty, which is actually something my mom had to stop by me when I was younger because I kept getting it stuck to my pants. Anyway, I went ahead and sliced that in half and then cut the back section into a little half U shape. I can then apply that to the rest of the boot. Then after blending that in and adding a little bit of detailing, we got ourselves a couple of nice little boots. With the legs complete, we could go ahead and pop her in the oven for a final bake. And with Muriel back and fully baked, we could go ahead and disassemble her real fast so we could start the painting process. I always like to start things off by giving the entire sculpture a base coat of its initial base coat colors. For this, we're going to be starting with her dress. For those of you that are curious, the brands of paint that I'm using is called Vallejo. And how I achieved this orange color is by mixing a few different colors, starting with red orange, a color called dark flesh, and a tiny bit of saddle brown. And once her dress was fully dry, we could go ahead and move on to her apron. How I got this color was by mixing cadmium yellow medium, a little bit more of that dark flesh, and just a little bit of white. Now a smarter me would have put down a primer layer of white to help the yellow stick a little bit because this took about 5 layers, I think. Yeah, it was not ideal, but we made it work. But once we had the thing completely coated and dried, we can move down to the boots, and for this, we're just gonna be using black. And once we got everything completely coated, we could go ahead and start painting on her flesh. When it comes to skin tones, I typically do different variations of this exact same blend, but I always start with a 50-50 of unbleached titanium and that color called dark flesh, and then I mix it with a little bit of cadmium red. I also really like to water down the paint and do multiple passes with this. This helps to eliminate a lot of the brush strokes and gives you a much smoother finish. But while I'm finishing these base coats, I just want to say thank you guys so much for checking out the video so far. I really hope you're enjoying it. If you could hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. And maybe hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Thanks. And with the base coats mostly finished, I went ahead and popped the head back on so I could paint the eyes white. Now that we have all the base coats completed and we have a nice flat Temu version of Muriel, We could go on to my favorite part of the whole build, and that's making her look more alive using washes. Now I've done a few human faces now, so I'm starting to get a little bit more strategic when it comes to these washes. I always like to start off around the eyes, mouth, and kind of in the creases using a crimson red. I then followed up with a cadmium red going over top of the cheeks and chin and ears. This gives the skin a little bit more variety, just kind of makes the skin pop a little bit more. I then go ahead and repeat this process multiple times, building up multiple layers until I'm satisfied with how the face looks. As for the arms, we're going to be doing a little bit more of a simpler version, just going over it once with the cadmium red. I then go over it with a microfiber cloth, just dabbing it along the surface and leaving these little splotchy textures. I don't know, it gives it a nice little rosacea look, you know what I'm saying? While I let the arms dry, we're gonna go back up to the face, adding a very, very light blue wash over top of the eyes in the lower section of the face. We're just doing some basic facial color mapping here, where we keep the upper section of the face a little bit more yellow, the midsection more red, and the lower jaw section a little bit more of a bluish tone. Just really adds more depth to the face, and I feel like it makes it look a little bit more alive. As for Muriel's eyes, we started things off with a pink wash, then I went over top of that with some of that unbleached titanium, wet blending it together. As for her irises, I went with a very dark brown. I felt like this kind of sold the Uncanny Valley version of her that I was going for. And with that completes the face, and now we can move on to her clothing. As for the apron, I'm going to be going over top of it with an orangish brown, just letting it sink down into all those little cracks and recesses. Then once I let it sit there for a few seconds, I go over top of it with a microfiber cloth to wipe off all the excess bits. I got this color by mixing some of that orange red that I have and a little bit of that saddle brown. As for Muriel's dress, I'm going to be going over top of it with a very dark version of that initial color that I used. No, her dress doesn't have as much texture as her apron does, but I still feel like this brings all the colors together. And with that pretty much concludes all the painting, and now we could go ahead and add Muriel's hair. For this, I'm just going to be using some stretched cotton and this stuff called Fabric Fusion. It's a fabric glue, but it happens to work pretty well with gluing things to these sculptures. So we're going to go ahead and start off by gluing down the center portion. Once I had it in its proper position, we could go ahead and move on to the sides. Try to be real gentle with this. I don't want to accidentally mat down the cotton too much. I want it to be very light and fluffy. But once I had the sides glued down, we could go ahead and glue down the top portion. She kind of has that Benjamin Franklin look, so we're gonna stick true to that. And with that and a little bit of off-camera detailing, we're onto those JCPenney glamour shots. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and also leave a comment down below of who you would like to see me sculpt next. I'll see you next time.